Hey guys, it's Derek here. We're gonna take a look at the news for the week ending February 21st. So we'll swap right into it, I suppose. So there was a Switch Direct this week. It wasn't one of the smaller kind of indie focused ones. It was like a proper big Switch Direct thing with a couple of different announcements, most of which don't really interest me all that much, but I'm sure they interested a lot of people. So they finished with Splatoon 3 being announced. This is from the Sixth Axis. They just have a nice roundup of all the different news rather than having to collate a bunch of news stories together for this. They just have a nice, here's all the stuff that happened on the Direct. So Splatoon 3, they had a little announcement trailer of not in-game graphics at the end of the Switch Direct, and it kind of started out as what's this game, until it eventually morphed into, oh right, of course it's Splatoon. That was cool. Midway into the show they had a kind of Zelda piece, and there's another story here where basically they had Eiji Aonuma come on to say, this is where we would have had Breath of the Wild 2 news if we had any. Basically to say that, sorry, no news on Breath of the Wild 2. Maybe hang on for possibly the 35th anniversary later on in the year. But they were there to announce that Skyward Sword HD is coming to Switch for full price, even though you can get the other one for much cheaper, but whatever. But they are putting the motion controls that the Wii version of Skyward Sword had into the Switch Joy-Cons and stuff like that. So that will be interesting. I'll probably get it because I've never played Skyward Sword, so I'll probably give it a shot. There's a new Mario Golf called Sugar Rush, which is what I thought it was called, but no, it's called Super Rush. And it's more Mario Golf shenanigans. There's a kind of weird sort of battle royale thing where you just all go at the same time. Instead of, like, normally, if you've played golf, you take your shots one at a time, and whoever's furthest away from the hole is first up in the roster, and the way it goes is you keep going until everyone has obviously put the ball in the hole or decided to give up. But not this one. This one is just everyone go at the same time, which is pretty funny. That's just an additional mode. You can obviously play it as traditional golf, I suppose, with Mario and Bowser and such, and you're me if you like. So there is a kind of story mode. Good job, Six Axis. That you can take your me character in and level up skill progression, and then pull them into the main game as well. Hyrule Warriors is getting, Age of Calamity is getting an expansion pass. Not too many details on what is actually in the expansion pass. It's just mentioned that there'll be characters and stages and stuff, but no firm details on what exactly. Will they be specifically Zelda characters? Will they be from other Zelda games? Who knows? Project Triangle Strategy, which is a fantastic working title. This is from the guys from Octopath Traveler, which I really liked and should really get back to because I did not play enough of it. Triangle Strategy is a working title, but Octopath Traveler was also a working title, and they ended up going with it. But this is a kind of return to the Final Fantasy Tactics style of gameplay that we have not seen in fucking years, I think. But it's like grid-based terrain, flanking your enemy, that kind of thing. It looks really interesting. There is a demo on Switch right now, which I have not played yet, but I will play, and there will be a video of it up on the channel. But obviously, if you have a Switch, demos are free, despite you having to download it, so whatever you have to pay your broadband provider, I suppose. No More Heroes 3 finally has a release date. It's coming out at the end of August. Are No More Heroes 1 and 2 on the Switch? Because if they are, I should get them, because they seem like my kind of game. I've just never played them, because I didn't own a Wii. Like, I went straight from Super Nintendo to Switch. I didn't buy anything in between, so I haven't really played anything that was on Nintendo platforms in that intervening time. A new Smash Bros. Character was announced. 2 characters. It's Pyra and Mithra. Why did you highlight so many things? It's Pyra and Mithra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That's the character that's all dressed in red with the big boobs. That's Pyra. And Mithra is her sort of clone alternate. They're effectively the same character. They just kind of swap between each other. So in Super Smash Bros, they can also do that. You can swap between the 2 characters. They have their different power powers and abilities and such. It's actually a pretty funny trailer, so if you have a chance to look at it, you should give it a shot. Star Wars Hunters started off as something really interesting and then got really boring really quickly. Mostly because this little piece of blurb just sums it up. Started off as new Star Wars game with bounty hunters, maybe. It sounded interesting until they said it's a free-to-play multiplayer shooter. Why? Why did you do this to me? So I just stopped paying any attention to that game whatsoever. I guess if you're into that kind of thing, check it out, but meh. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout announced for Switch. Honestly thought it was already on Switch, but okay, it's coming out to Switch. It's also coming to Xbox. So there were a couple of games announced during the Switch Direct that are coming to Switch, but you know, also in like the fine print, also coming to Xbox and PlayStation. Don't think about that too much. Animal Crossing is getting some Super Mario items for the 35th anniversary. So there's a few of them that you can just see here in the screenshot, but there's a few more stuff. But yeah, new items for Animal Crossing, sure. Miitopia returning. Not going to have the Friend Pass stuff that DS had. So that mightn't be as much fun, but you know, Miitopia was kind of funny anyway, so it should be interesting. Famicom Detective Club, new games for that. Never played any of the Famicom Detective Club games, so no idea. But probably give them a shot. I'm kind of interested in like these sort of detective-y story games. I like them. Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, so it's encompassing all the Gaidens. Also coming to Xbox and PlayStation 4, which was not announced in the Switch, but it's also coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC in June. Some more stuff shown off from Monster Hunter Rise, some new monsters, some new game mechanics. But again, there is a demo for Monster Hunter Rise that I've not got around to playing. I was meant to have played it by now because I think the multiplayer component is deactivated for the demo now, but I think you could still play it in single player. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I might boot up the demo and it says Sal's can't play anymore. And that's not going to be a great video. It's like 2 minutes long. So that's not going to help. Knockout City is another arena brawler thing, only it's dodgeball. The trailer looked funny, but I mean, you already know. You already know if you want to play this game or not. DC Superhero Girls Teen Power is kind of based on the kind of teen versions of Batgirl, Supergirl, and Wonder Woman, even though Wonder Woman is considerably older than both of them. Well, shit, you know, yeah, considerably older, and she's like hundreds of years old, so yeah, whatever, I don't know. Debatable if this is actually on other platforms, but it's based on the Cartoon Network show. I don't know. I actually don't even know what kind of gameplay it is, so who knows. Plants vs. Zombies, no, don't care. Legend of Mana is getting a kind of remaster, which is nice. Outer Wilds coming to Switch. So if you haven't managed to play it yet, here's another place you can play it. Samurai Warriors 5 coming to Switch, but also coming to PS4 and Xbox. World's End Club looks like another Danganronpa Zero Escape. Actually, you even say it there. Danganronpa Zero Escape thing, where you have a big eclectic cast of characters who all get murdered during the gameplay, and you need to figure out what the fuck is going on. Stubbs the Zombie somehow is getting a remaster. Why? I don't understand. Anyway, the interesting thing here is that Stubbs was an Xbox exclusive, and I thought Microsoft owned the IP to it, and Microsoft have been putting their IPs on Switch, so debatable if this is going to hit PlayStation. Don't know, but it is coming to Switch, and I assume Xbox. A bit more news on the Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. I believe you have some supporting characters that can jump in for local co-op, so there's something interesting there. Capcom Arcade Stadium, I don't know what that is, so we're going to skip past that. Neon White is coming from the guys who made Donut County. Donut County is hilarious, even if it is a little too expensive for what you actually get. Neon White is a kind of demons who are contracted to kill other demons in heaven for some reason, so I guess they've invaded or something. When I saw it, I thought it was a Paradise Killer thing. Just, I don't know, something about the aesthetic just said Paradise Killer to me, but no, it's not. It looks really interesting. And Saga Frontier also getting a remaster and will be available on these platforms, not Xbox. Fuck you, Xbox, I guess. And that was it for the Switch Direct. This link from the 6-axis will be in the description. So if you want one location for all of the different trailers, you can check it out here, or they have a link for the direct to the Direct. And was I calling it a Switch Direct? It's not a Switch Direct, it's a Nintendo Direct. Anyway, we already talked about that. Okay, so some game announcements. BlizzCon was going on this week. I think it's over today. But kind of the only actual news that I was interested in is the Diablo 2 remaster. I have not seen this trailer yet, so I'm going to have a look at it, and you guys can look along with me, I suppose. Should turn on, desktop audio is on. Full screen.
How was it not yours, the wanderer? Now
so apologies if this is really loud. I haven't done the audio mixing for audio desktop.
Don't do it. It seems you are not acceptable of it.
So those are all audio clips from Diablo 2. So far so good. Yeah, okay, sure.
Though this be our darkest hour, it may yet be.
No, it looked way better than that. Goddamn heroes tinted glasses. Yeah, it's good. I wonder if they'll keep the the animations are pretty smooth. I was gonna say if they're gonna keep them kind of weirdly keyframed. It still has a bit of it, actually. That's Diablo 2, alright. Yeah, it's still a bit, let's call it keyframing. That's very zoomed in for Diablo, though. The Diablo fight is not that zoomed in. They'll change that a bit. Return to hell. Sure. Now I just want to make sure that actually... Okay. I hope you guys could actually see that. It wasn't just a black screen. Anyway, turn off desktop audio just in case something weird happens. Yeah, so Diablo 2 should be interesting. Like if you already have it on PC, you could probably mod it up to craziness at that stage. But the thing I'm more interested in is how they're gonna handle like game inputs, because Diablo 3 was the first one on consoles, so that was changed like drastically to work with a controller. So I am somewhat curious how Diablo 2 is gonna handle that, because I don't want to just be mashing the X button constantly. Thing to point out here, or that Kotaku points out here, is that it was originally with the Warcraft 3 guys, and that was a pretty shit remaster, but it had been moved off to some other people, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it doesn't go the Warcraft 3 route. There's some other stuff. No? Different. Okay, that must have been a different article, but there's some stuff about a kind of combo thing where you can buy Diablo 2 and 3 and some other stuff. Although I would query people who actually want to play Diablo 2 and don't have Diablo 3. Anyway. This is the original creator, Kichiro Toyama of... Toyama? No, not Toriyama, that's somebody else. Silent Hill is working on some new stuff. There's some stuff here, again, in a trailer I haven't watched. I'll put on audio. No, I won't, because I don't actually know what's in this trailer. Is there gameplay? Gameplay. There is no gameplay, it's just talking to that guy. Okay, and there were no subtitles, so that's going to be very difficult for people to watch. But yeah, he's just talking about some new, his new thing from Boker. This is new. Is this just a link to the same interview? Yes, it is. Okay, anyway. some new stuff from the guy from Silent Hill. I saw some other promotional material. I thought it was in this article, but it must have been in a different one where they had like actual concept art and it looked pretty fucking creepy. System Shock 2 Enhanced Edition is getting a VR mode. So this is kind of coming from like a follow-up to a tweet that they put out, which I will show here. Where they're just kind of showing off. These are like the dev tools that they have, but also showing that yes, it can correspond to motion controls and VR controllers and stuff like that. This is them just more or less confirming that yeah, there will be, or I guess they're aiming for a remarkably remarkable VR experience. Just pointing out that yeah, it will probably be not standalone, but it will probably come after the initial launch. I think it says here VR mode. It's still a prototype added to it sometime after launch, so it won't be with launch of System Dive. Night Dive, System Shock. I'm all over the place today. I backed this on Kickstarter when it was announced originally. It was announced in 2019. I've been looking forward to it for quite some time. I would really hope they actually get their act together at some point. Amazon's ambitious MMO New World gets third delay, now expected in August. In other news, Amazon were working on an MMO, I guess. I vaguely remember them announcing this like ages ago. I don't need my headphones anymore. Vaguely remember them announcing this a long time ago. But yeah, it's been delayed, I guess. Sure, whatever. This is coming from Amazon, who just recently released Valorant and was like reasonably certain that game is dead now, or like maybe most of the way dead. Who knows? Anyway, if you were paying attention to New World, chances are you probably already knew this. But also, their closed beta that was supposed to happen in spring is now being moved to midsummer. Adding a new section to my weekly news stuff, I suppose. I kind of just chop and change sections all the time, but this is like rumors and stuff. So the Medium, who we talked about last week, who basically made back their entire development budget, Bloober team, are potentially working on the next Silent Hill. So they said in a recent interview that they're working on a new horror title from a very famous gaming publisher. And there is news elsewhere on the internet, I suppose, that Konami have contracted third parties to work on multiple Silent Hill games. How many of those will end up being pachinko games? Who knows? But apparently they've been doing it, reportedly been shopping around publishers. I think they were somewhat burnt on how Metal Gear Survive turned out. And there was something else they weren't happy with, but I forget what it was. Anyway, there's some stuff there that, yeah, maybe Bloober team are working on the next Silent Hill. Maybe. Oops, boobs. I scrolled down specifically not to show the boobs, but there we go. They got in anyway. They'll always find a way. Not unlike dinosaurs, I suppose. So here's industry bullshit, everyone's favorite section of the weekly news. Definitely mine. I love talking about I actually do love talking about the industry bullshit. I won't even attempt to lie about that. So again, BlizzCon going on this week, whatever way you want to look at it. And they had a kind of party sort of thing after their keynote, and they had Metallica play some of their latest hits or oldest hits. Who knows? Because Twitch decided to dub over it to try to avoid DMCA and stuff like that. So they ended up playing like polka music, which was pretty funny. This just shows how the whole internet ecosystem is working with music. That should be a unifying thing. Like this should be like a thing that people can get behind. Like, oh yeah, music from Metallica, a well-known band. Chances are you know their music. You might necessarily like their music, but chances are you know it well enough that you can have a community-driven thing. But instead, Twitch killed that. But not Twitch, the DMCA killed that. The whole copyright thing killed that off. There's a couple of other places that were also rebroadcasting BlizzCon that also elected to mute the Metallica concert just because of it. And I think it's also funny. I think it's in this article. Yes, there's a certain degree of irony because of Metallica and the whole Napster thing, and they sort of started this whole copyright music thing. So it's somewhat funny that Metallica are on the receiving end of it this time. Not that they'll particularly care. I imagine they got paid to do the thing and whatever. So anyway. The Sinking City hits PlayStation 5 tomorrow with visual upgrades. Why is this in the industry bullshit section? The reason it's in the industry bullshit section is because Frogwares and the original publisher of Sinking City on PS4 cut ties with each other for some really, really fucking stupid reasons. But anyway, it's all legal shit that's still ongoing. But because of that, there's no PS4 upgrade to the PS5 version. You would have to buy it again. Now, Sinking City, okay. It's an okay game. It's not amazing. It's alright. The additional stuff would be interesting if it had the upgrade or some kind of discount or something, but it doesn't, and that is because of the whole legal shenanigans things. The way they link games together for the PS4, PS5 upgrades is they have the same SKU number. So the way they would do it here is to basically have, here's the PS5 bundle of upgradable stuff. And if you already have the SKU for the PS4, they would be able to match each other and they could give it to you for free. They can't do that because the PS4 publisher and the PS5 publisher are not the same, so the SKUs are different. It's shitty, but that is, again, why it's in the industry bullshit section. Chances are this will probably never get ironed out. Or even if it does, it's unlikely they'll retroactively change Sinking City to have an upgrade. Do I have a video of Sinking City? No. I don't have a standalone video of it, but it is in one of my games of something. It's okay. It's not amazing. It's alright. Oops. Is that still in the thing? I doubt it. Hang on. Let me put this back. Okay. It worked out. Hang on. Let me put you back in industry bullshit because that's where you belong. Okay. I misclicked there. Apologies. I don't know what you guys saw there for a second, but anyway. Hopefully you didn't see all of my unforgivable porn. Anyway, EA has completed their acquisition of Codemasters, so they were competing with Take-Two to purchase Codemasters. Codemasters are behind most of the racing games, like almost all of them. Why is this an industry bullshit? EA have a habit of killing studios. That's all. To highlight that they're not good about it. But to be fair, the other people they were potentially going to, 2K, Take-Two, who are behind Rockstar and 2K, also not great about that kind of thing. So some amount of trepidation on this announcement. It would be good for Codemasters to possibly be able to resurrect their older IPs, some of their shooter IPs. I find that unlikely. I'd say they'll just be making all of the racing games. And EA, as I just pointed out here, EA has the rights to like a ton of them now. F1, Project Cars, Grid, Dirt, World Rally Championship, and lots of other stuff. Need for Speed, Real Racing, Burnout. EA pretty much owns all the racing games now. What left? What is left? Gran Turismo, Forza. Is that kind of it? And they're console exclusives. So, they kind of do. I'm sure there are others. I don't really follow the racing games. Codemasters will currently be run as a independent subsidiary of EA. Independent subsidiary is a way to say, we're going to see how you do, and if you do shit, we're just going to cut you off, and that's the end of you, which is what EA does. Either that, or they just gobble you up and rename you and hope people don't notice. That's what happens. You should look out for that, BioWare, because you're probably next. Okay, where was I in the list? Because this added it to the end of the list. I've done Sinking City. Yes. More traditional industry bullshit stuff. Apple wants Valve to hand over a bunch of Steam info for its fight with Epic. So if you're not aware, Epic Games and Apple are currently in a legal dispute, with Epic suggesting that Apple has a monopoly on games. that, or sorry, has a monopoly on apps to be played on iPhones, iPads, things like that, which it does. However, Apple would also argue that you don't have to sell your game on the Apple Store. You can go to Google, you can go to PlayStation, you can go to Xbox, you can go anywhere. And to back this up, they've requested that Valve kind of step in or legally requested, which is a way of saying fucking do it, to kind of hand over some of their stats, sales numbers, revenue numbers, things like that for games on PC. Now, PC, App Store, do they necessarily go together? No, which is what Valve kind of says further down. They're like, why are you bringing us into this? We sell PC games, not app games. Go away. Conveniently forgetting that they also do sell apps. Anyway, I just think this is another weirdness for the Apple Epic thing. Epic are claiming that Apple have a monopoly, and as such, their cut of sales is what's the word I want to say? Unacceptable. But for some reason, they singled out Apple, whereas you could say the Android Play Store similarly has. We won't do for Android because there's sort of a gray area. But you could say that the PSN, the PlayStation Store, has a monopoly on games sold on PlayStation. The Xbox Store, I don't know what it's called. I don't think it's called XBLA anymore. Has a monopoly on games sold on Xbox, etc. The Nintendo eShop has a monopoly on games sold on Switch, on whatever. The reason I say Android is gray area is because you can sideload games on Android devices. You can sideload games on PC as well. Steam are not a monopoly. You can absolutely get around it. You can go to the different other launchers. Blizzard have their own launcher, Ubisoft have their own launcher, and so on. So bringing in PC in this argument doesn't make sense because they're not equivalent. I don't know why they're doing this. There are no good guys in this dispute anyway. It's hard to root for anyone in particular, although, yeah, no. It's hard to root for anyone in particular on this. Peter Molyneux's 22 Cans hit with layoffs. So, 22 Cans is a really odd developer in that they make a lot of games, but then don't actually release most of them. The only one they've really released that I can remember is Goddess and The Cube, which was really fucking stupid. It goes into it here on some of the stories around it. But the idea was the winner of whoever got into the game. If you remember, The Cube was this kind of, I'm not sure, was it a puzzle thing or was it a clicker thing? I'm not sure. But eventually there'd only be one winner, and it was whoever got to the center of the cube. And the reward was that he'd become this incredible, powerful digital god or whatever. But all it ended up being was that he was offered a job at 22 Cans. And he was supposed to get a proportion of the proceeds from the game, but I don't think that ever happened. They have released some other things like Goddess, which is a sort of God sim kind of thing. It's like black and white without the interesting part of black and white, which was the pets, and some other things. But anyway, they've been hit with layoffs. I just wonder if the guy who was offered the job got the job and has now subsequently been hit with a layoff. I don't know. It's shitty. It's never great that developers lose their jobs and stuff, but 22 Cans as a developer has been developing games and not putting them out, so it's not surprising that they're a bit low on funds, I imagine. This is coming back to the E3 ESA story that we did last week. So this is Reggie, who no longer works for Nintendo, but he worked for them long enough that his experience is still something to seek out. But it's the same pointing out that E3 will be pointless unless people can actually play the games. Otherwise they wouldn't stand out from any of the other keynotes that whoever, Sony can do, Microsoft can do, whatever. It would be no different. The only real difference would be if it's some sort of collective buy-in, that everybody puts up the money to create this system where people can actually play the demos and stuff like that, which would be great. I really don't see that happening, but that's kind of the only way E3 in the digital sense ever becomes a thing. Otherwise, it's just a very expensive way of doing your own live stream. So just do that instead. Stadia leadership praised development studios for great progress just 1 week before laying them all off. Thanks, assholes. Anyway, so this is from Kotaku. It's pointing out that Google Stadia leadership, so Phil Harrison, more or less, put out an email a couple of days before they started laying off people. And it's a summation of it here, which is just, hey, you guys are doing really great, and you know there's some great things ahead for Stadia. I'm glad we're all working on exclusive games. Great things ahead. That was on January 27th. Like a couple of days later, isn't it here? 5 days. 5 days later, Harrison completely changes course and says, yeah, you're all fired. Sorry. So, fuck you, dude. You definitely knew ahead of time. Developers only learned about it like that day. They learned about it more or less the same time as everybody else. It's just an absolute shitty way to handle your developer, to handle your employees, people. Their excuse is just bullshit. They absolutely knew this. Like, creating best-in-class games on the ground up takes many years, significant investment, the cost is going up. Everyone you hired could have told you that. Every single person you hired could have told you that. It's just a really shitty way. It's actually a really good article from Nathan Grayson. Yeah, it's you should give it a read. Link again in the description. 6 days in Fallujah? I thought it was 6 days of. No, that doesn't make sense. 6 days in Fallujah. Yeah, okay. Not trying to make a political commentary, is making a war game set in the Middle East while that war is still going on. You sure you're not trying to make a political game? So they're trying to take the viewpoint that we're not making a political game, we're just trying to make players feel empathy for people stuck in these horrible situations that they wouldn't be in if there weren't some political shit going on, guys. They're also casting the coalition soldiers as the protagonists of the game, which automatically makes you feel for their side rather than, you know, people you're fucking invading and blowing up, guys. They're also glossing over the very real war crimes that happened during the fucking game, or during the fucking battle and subsequent and precedent war, I suppose. Again, this article is a tough read because you're just gonna be sitting with your head in your hands, going, "What the fuck are you talking about, guys?" If you wanted to make this game, one, it's been made already. It's called Spec Ops: The Line, where they don't take an already existing war; they make up their own war, and while they do put U.S. soldiers or UN soldiers, if you like, as the protagonist, it becomes very clear that you're the bad guys. It's Spec Ops: The Line. They even deal with the whole white phosphorus thing in Spec Ops: The Line, which absolutely happened during the 6 days in Fallujah, which is a war crime. But they're trying to gloss over it. So guys, if you didn't want to make a political war game, even though war by its very nature is a political thing, you could have just invented a new country, invented a new war, and just gone about it that way. But no, you didn't. You took an actual existing war with real people to put into your game. So, you know, they're absolutely like courting controversy with this. Their idea that, oh, we're not trying to make a political game, is to just get eyes on the game, which will almost certainly be shit. And we talked about that one already. Nope. So this is a pretty long and lengthy, they mean the same thing, Derek, about the whole Riot Games culture thing, which is a story that we talked about last week about Nicolo Laurent being a subject of sexual harassment case. But this article just kind of sums up stuff I was trying to talk about last week, which is Riot Games itself has a very big problem with sexism and harassment. So does Ubisoft. So do a lot of tech companies in general. But this article just goes into like really sums it up pretty well. Again, link will be in the description if you are interested in reading more about it. None of this is specifically news exactly. It's just going over stuff that has happened and is currently being litigated or has been litigated. And we're going to finish with good, fun stuff, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, in the memery stuff. So, if you have used Steam before, you may be familiar with their reviewing section, where they have a kind of positivity metric on games. They'll have like very positive, mostly negative, whatever it is. One developer saw this and decided, hey, you know, people don't really look into this all that much. So what if I just, you know, decided to call my company very positive? Maybe people wouldn't notice. Maybe people wouldn't, you know, they just see this and see mostly, but then see very positive. Maybe that's, maybe my game's really good. I don't know. This is coming from Game Discoverability, which is a blog, I guess, Substack, which is, might as well just be a blog. Anyway, Valve basically saw this and said, yeah, no, you're done. Goodbye. So don't pull this shit. But still, I just thought it was really funny. And this picture they have is also quite hilarious. The rest of this article goes into just how like review bots aren't great and etc. But that particular little tidbit just seemed really funny to me. Left 4 Dead's secret Purple Francis character goes viral. So this is based on a tweet that came out earlier in the week, or just after I put out my news story from last week, where someone decided to edit in a character called Purple Francis, who was allegedly a cut character from Left 4 Dead, and they went to the effort to write in like a full article about him and started cross-referencing him on different articles on the wiki and that kind of thing. I just thought it was really funny. It has since been edited back out, but it did spawn a bunch of different mods for people putting in Purple Francis into the game. It's just some stupid shit that, you know, it's nice when people do these kind of things. I mean, probably a pain in the ass for whoever has to do wiki edits and goes back and goes, come on, wikis are supposed to be sources of, you know, information, not for stupid memes. But also, you know, sometimes it can just be funny bullshit. Anyway, that's our news for this week. So Switch Direct, I keep calling it Switch Direct, Nintendo Direct. Lots of interesting stuff there. Way too much for me to go into on just the stupid news video that I make. Some good stuff there. Industry bullshit continues to be industry bullshit. But yeah, if you guys liked video, give me like, comment, subscribe, that shit. Other videos on the channel are under my face. I forget because I think the video is mirrored, but it's down there somewhere. Latest videos. Some two more new ones since last week's. I played a bit of Unto the End, which is a really tough kind of survival-y game. It reminded me a lot of, I'm going to say Beneath, but I don't think that's what it's called. I forget what the game is called. Shit. Anyway, it reminded me a lot of another game that I can't remember the name of, so that's real helpful. I'll say it in my games of the month or whatever, because I forgot I didn't say it in the Unto the End video because it was my first time playing it and I hadn't reflected on it. I thought it was really good, but it's a really tough game. I do like the combat in it, but it's quite hard. And then also Twin Mirror, which is a choose your own adventure kind of thing, which is a bit boring. Video funny though, go watch it. Anyway, I'll see you guys next week.